Fist, you need to trade me 2 elixirs of minor, or sorry, 42 to the spirit defense.
It's chest, finally.
Okay.
Congrats, man. She's
Welcome to ZG.
Alright.
This will be just a standardized video walkthrough with my commentary, of course, on how we do trash and the bosses in ZG. Of course, you want to come with your raid consumables and world buffed. So what we're doing right now is we're just setting up the groups here, and we're going to assign mages for sheep targets, tanks for their markers, and we're just going to get our buffs up, and we'll get right into it. For these first set, this first set of trash, the Gurubashi axe throwers, they will spin periodically or even just permanently. And what we do here is we have our mages spam sheep them, so it interrupts their spinning. And so if they're spinning, what happens is they just throw axes at random players, and it does a lot of damage and it knocks them down. So what we want to do is just have your mage if you're a mage that's assigned to a target like that, like an axe thrower, you just want to make sure that you're constantly spamming sheep to interrupt their interrupting their axe throwing, their spinning, whatever you want to call it. Moving down to these snakes, if you are tanking this, you want to pick up the snakes and face them away from the raid. They do like an AoE, like spit poison. Of course, if they are facing away from the raid, they will only spit the tank, or whoever's in range of that spit at that time. Moving on here, this is kind of a double pull, but if we just stick to the markers that were assigned at the beginning of the raid, we have a moon here that's being constantly sheeped, and then it's just a bunch of trash that's just going to get DPS down. In the order of the markers, or cleave down depending on what the situation is. There are moments in this dungeon where single DPS is needed and called for, and then AoE afterward. So it's just very important to understand, what targets you're DPSing and what targets you're AoEing. For the axe throwers, again, here we're coming into the axe throwers. You mages want to be constantly sheeping those axe throwers to interrupt their axe throwing spinning, and then these mobs can be cleaved down without much issue. Moving up to this berserker, so the berserker, we'll have our main tank pull it, and we always want like a backup tank or like a goalie tank to be away from the raid, just in case that the main tank does get feared by the berserker. The goalie tank can come in, taunt it, and pick it up immediately. Of course, we DPS it down pretty fast. It didn't have a chance to do that, but that won't always be the case. Moving on to this trash, there is a special mob in here, the Hakkar Witch Doctor, which is marked X. We usually want to kill that last, simply because once the Witch Doctor dies, it'll spawn a blue ghost, as you can see right here, and it will follow a random player in the raid, and if you allow the ghost to get near you, it will melee strike you for a bunch of additional damage. Moving into the Bat Riders and the Bats, you want to single DPS down the Bat Rider first, and then clean up the pack with AoE afterward, simply because the Bat Rider will channel an explosion ability for a massive amount of damage below, I think it's 20%, could be 25, but you do want to DPS him down hard and fast to not have to deal with that explosion. So moving on with these Bat Riders again, single DPS on Skull, and then we're going to move to single DPS on X. The reason why we're doing single DPS right here is because we simply want to focus down the Bat Rider to avoid the mechanic of him exploding at low HP. We're moving a bit fast through this room, but there are more mobs. So we got a triple pull here, so I'm just going to focus up. We need lots of heals here.
Don't AoE. Don't AoE.
You simply don't want to AoE here. It's fine if you get a triple pull, as long as you just remain calm. So we're going to single focus down the Bat Riders first, right?
We're on X.
You simply want to focus up on the marks. Marks will be provided. You simply listen to the raid lead, what he wants to do, and it's not an issue.
This is a general rule for raiding.
It's really just it's about just staying calm and understanding what the packs do, right? So we had a triple pull of Bat Riders there. You as a DPS would need to understand that, okay, so we pulled Bat Riders. I need to single target a Bat Rider. I need to follow the marks. I need to listen to the raid lead and see what he wants me to kill. So it's just remaining calm and understanding what's happening, or, you know, if it goes sideways like that, you know, understand what you need to do in that certain moment. So, I mean, it was a really good recovery on a very scuffed pull.
Snake that, pull back.
Okay, so just for this room in general, the tanks will be pulling back to where kind of where we started, because it is very easy to double pull. So we just want to pull back. Don't rush this room. Single target the Bat Riders, and then you clean up the pack with AoE. It's not a huge deal. So we're moving on. Another Bat Rider pack. Like, we cleared out most of them because of that scuff pull, so we're moving up just a little bit, but just it won't always be like this where, you know, we're moving up as quickly as we are. So you just take your time, single DPS Skull, single DPS X, and then clean the pack up with AoE.
Past that.
Do a little bag organization here that we're...
We should shoot this, we should shoot this early. Yeah.
They're all stacked.
So this room is a bit scuffed right now because it is all stacked up.
Do you guys do anything with Silverite? Do any
That's come back quick. So
Yeah, we pull it. Just keep running.
Yes, that goes to the guild bank.
Pull square out. Square is last this time.
Alright, so with this pack, we have a Witch Doctor, which is being tanked off to the side. We're going to kill that last. Gurbashi Headhunter doesn't really do much.
Run away.
And then for the Hakkari Witch Doctors, it spawns the ghost, and then we just move away from it once it's dead. If you're melee, you can move away from it, like at around 20%, just to ensure that you don't get whacked by that ghost, should it spawn and you be the one that's targeted by, you know, the ghost itself for the melee hit. Same thing with this pack. We DPS down the Witch Doctor last, move away from it. It moves very slow. It's not a huge deal.
Big focus skull, you guys.
So we're going to focus skull here. Then we're going to focus X. And then we're going to clean up with AoE.
Alright, for boss,
Very, very simple.
range, we're gonna stack on circle.
So the boss setup here is not anything special. So we're going to have the main tank down near where she comes down, which is going to be just a little bit ahead of us. We're going to have either a hunter or a range stand right here. And so what this boss does is when she transforms into a bat, she has a periodic AoE silence. We'll have the casters stay away from her, and then a hunter soak the charge, which the bat will charge the closest player outside of like a 10-yard range or 15-yard range, and we always want that to be a hunter because the AoE silence could happen at the same time she charges, and we just don't want that silence to be on the healers or casters. So the melee are going to go in, the boss is pulled. Of course you're watching your threat here if you are a DPS. If you're a healer, you're making sure everyone's topped up. And we should see the charge come out here pretty soon onto triangle. That's on the left. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But that's just a mechanic, and this is the general setup of what you want to see, because we want triangle to be charged and we want our casters to be casting.
You're on the quest for the.
So that was really easy. That ended up just being a tank and spank, but it won't always be that way because you still might get the charge. If you are on the head channeler quest, you definitely want to loot that boss.
Salve, I would like salve majority of the time, and I'll click it off when I don't need it, but I want salve instead of might.
So the way that that's set up with Pally Power is based on tanks, like tank assignment, which is a little annoying.
Okay. I was escape keyed for about 10 seconds in that fight, which is...
Alright, so we're going to move on to the next set of trash here. Nothing we haven't seen before. We have axe throwers. Priests do fear the Hakkari priest, so you want to have a rogue stun locking that, and the priest should be one of the first targets to die, if not the first.
Please face these to the right.
So what's going to happen here is the raid's going to set up on the left, and the tanks are going to set up on the right. What we want to happen here is we want all the markers to be picked up and faced away from the raid, because we just don't want the whole raid to get poisoned with their AoE cone spit. So we just pulled a pack, it gets AoE down, not a big deal, and there's one more pack like that coming up here.
Yeah, this will be X. Okay, you can pull that priest. I'm having a hard time selecting.
So we can see the tank pulls. The tank line of sights on the pillar in front of the arch, so that all the snakes come towards the archway, and then the raid will go in, pick up their marks if they're assigned, face the snakes away from the raid, and we just kill them. We have a sheep back there. It's going to get pulled. It's an axe thrower, so if you're the mage that is assigned to sheep that target, you just want to be spam sheeping that so it doesn't start spinning and knocking down healers, and that is a possible outcome. What we're doing right now is we're looking for a patrol of 2 snakes that come into the room. I think this is them right here in the far back, because we don't want those patrol of 2 snakes to go into the boss room while we're fighting the boss. So what's going to happen is we'll probably move back.
Okay, we're going to have range stacks on summit marked with diamonds, stinkies marked with circle.
So how we want to set up this is we want to have 2 separate range stacks, evenly split with healers and casters and ranged, simply because this boss has a chain lightning that ramps up each time it jumps to a player, right? So like if I get chain lightninged, it'll jump to, like, let's say for example Summit, he'll take more damage, and then it will jump to Hideo, he'll take more damage, then it will jump to Isthmus, and he'll take more damage. The reason why we split up is because we don't want that that chain lightning to ramp up to the point where it kills players.
All the other DPS, you stay up top, and off tanks, you stay up.
You want your hunters to dismiss pets because they are a potential
as a melee, you stay up there and you don't come
chain lightning target. And I'm just going to spam it here.
Okay, tanks, get ready. Move up together. I'll count you down.
Hunters dismiss pets, Beppis is spamming.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, good call. Dismiss pets. It's just another target. Yep.
You want your hunters to dismiss pets. Warlock pets are fine. So the tanks are going to go up. You have your main tank, snag the main boss, and drag him to the side. If you're melee, you're up on the stairs and you are killing the marked ads above
Stay in
there.
your stacks.
Most important thing is staying
Back up.
I don't care if you
Yeah,
get it.
they're just
So they're kind of line of sight up there. The melee are. I can't really reach them. But I don't want to run up there because it's potential that I trigger the chain lightning from the boss. So you just have to stay in your stack. There should be a call for, you know, the melee to come to the top of the stairs there. So I'm just going to try to see where they're standing. That's a bit too far. At 50%, the boss will transform into a snake, and chain lightning is no longer an issue. The tank will continue to move the boss because it will spawn a poison cloud around the boss, and the tank will just continue to move.
Yeah, I apologize for that. We did it way different. Another way.
So what happens as a melee, I'll just explain it because we kind of went fast. You've seen the caster range. If you're a melee, you're running up the stairs on pull.
Pick up channel.
You want to ignore the main boss, and you want to stand at the top of the stairs and kill these ads.
Do we see
You just want to cleave them down, but you do not want to rip threat off the main boss because the main tank is pulling them down the stairs and coming towards this area and keeping him away from the raid group to ensure that a chain lightning thing doesn't happen. If the melee are up there, line of sight like they were, it's important as a healer not to instinctively run up there because you could trigger that chain lightning. You just want to call for them to move to the top of the stairs because they're line of sight. I'm sure they enjoy living, so they will move to the top of the stairs or they'll die. Running through these corridors here, or these pathways, there are berserkers, so you just want to be aware of the berserkers. So remember, these berserkers are the ones where we have a goalie tank outside of the melee group just in case we get an AoE fear. The fear will drop threat on the main tank temporarily, then the goalie tank will just taunt and pick it up. For these packs, you want to make sure that we are killing the Hakkari priest first, because they have an AoE fear. And then the blood drinkers, it's already dead, so I'll explain it on the next pack. If you're a warrior or anything like that, you don't want to be charging the priests, because we're trying to save the stun diminishing return for the rogues to keep them cheap shotted and kidney shotted, so that they don't have a chance to use their fear. I'll have a chance to explain the blood drinkers here more in depth because there's more of them. So our marks went out. You just pay attention to your mark. If you're a mage, you want to sheep it. And then we have a blood drinker pulled out to the side here. So the blood drinker siphons blood, from those around it. So that's why we have it pulled out. And then you just want to pull the blood drinkers apart and kill them that way. And then that way they don't have a chance to drink, blood drink, whatever you want to call it. I could be wrong on how that exactly works. I don't know if they siphon life from raiders or siphon life from, other mobs within, within the pack. But you just want to have them tanked far apart so that they're positioned that way. The Gurubashi champions do have a charge and knockback, so you want to position yourself to where that if you do get knocked back, you're getting knocked into a wall. So my camera's really bad right now, but that's just because it had to be for those champion packs. So we got a berserker there, so we just want to be wary of where the berserkers are. You can see us patrolling. We'll catch him here. Stay a decent ways away from it, because remember, it does have the potential to fear and go towards, like the ranged or healer or anyone who didn't get feared. It's just always good to be, a bit of ways away from the berserker should a fear happen. These raptors aren't anything special. You just want to AoE them down. You could focus a mark if you want. It's not really necessary though. For these next packs, there's quite a few things in here. So we have a priest, which we're going to kill first, and then the Gurbashi champion, which also does the charge. You want to make sure you're positioned in a way that if you do get charged, you're not getting knocked back into either another pack or outside the room. You want to get knocked into a wall if at all possible.
Champions up here.
Okay, some more champions. You see our druid tank got knocked. A lot of people getting knocked back. It's just how champions are. Just as long as you're in a position to get knocked back into a safe area, they're not a huge deal. You just AoE them down. You don't need to focus on marker or anything like that.
Raptors are coming. We'll take it down the steps or down the ramp.
Raptors aren't anything special. You can throw a cheeky AoE in if you want, but the DPS will AoE them down, and all that good stuff. Very important in this room that you simply don't attack the Vile Branch Speaker, because that will engage the boss.
Get to the right.
And just stay away from him until we're ready to engage.
Back to the right, so you don't get knocked into the boss.
You don't want to be knocked into him or anything like that. I'm not too sure if just being on top of him would pull the boss, but it's just, you just don't want to be near him. Just don't pull the boss, don't engage. We'll get the packs down first. So with this pack, again, we have a Hakkari Priest, which will die first. And then the Blood Drinker will be pulled away from the other mobs. And then we'll kill the champions, which have that charge that you want to position yourself to get charged back safely.
I kind of made a mistake last time just because it's like just different how we run things. So
Alright, so we're getting ready to pull the boss here. So Bloodlord Mandokir is probably the most dangerous boss, or at least one of the most dangerous. He has a mechanic where he will target a single player in the raid and cast a gaze on them. And during this gaze, it is a debuff that shows up on your debuff bar. You do not want to press a single ability or move a single step. You simply hit escape twice on your keyboard, and you'll detarget the boss. And it is, you just simply don't do anything. Dots, like damage over time spells, healing over time spells, have been known to trigger that gaze. So you simply don't want to have HOTS rolling during this fight or damage over time things rolling for this boss to be on the safe side. You just simply don't do anything for the duration of the debuff, and that's about it. We are going to have a single person out here baiting a charge that the boss does. The charge is a threat drop, so that's why we want it controlled. He will charge the furthest person away from the raid within, I believe it's 30 yards or 35 yards. And that person is usually a hunter that will stand right out here. You as a ranged want to be decently close to the boss, but not too close because he does a cleave. You'll see how I position myself here. Alright, so Bloodlord will come down. He'll split. We'll have the main tank pick up Bloodlord, and then an off tank pick up the Raptor on the left there. So people are pulling threat. That's really bad. You just want to manage your threat here. Graze. So we have a threatening gaze on Ransuck, so he should escape and not do anything. And then once the debuff is off him, you've seen the debuff go off of him on my raid frames there, he's safe to move once again. So we have threatening gaze on John Diehard. And then there is the charge and threat drop. We have a tank pickup and move him back into position. So we have threatening gaze on Porpoise. Porpoise, you can see the debuff right here, threatening gaze. And then it's off and he's free to move again. We're killing the boss first, so threatening gaze on IPOP cooldowns. You can see threatening gaze is off in 3, 2, 1, and you can hit the boss again.
Let tanks pick up.
So Isthmus got the next debuff.
Unranked up. Raptor.
Very nice. And then so once we kill the boss, we'll finish off the raptor. You can see that I never sustained a charge because I was close to the boss within a certain yard range, right?
Yep.
Bloodlord Mandokir will charge the furthest person away from him within 30 to 35 yards, and that can be, you know, baited to a certain person if the positioning was set up, you know, in a different way.
Yep. Don't click these piles.
Go ahead and pick it up like this. Or looks like somebody got it.
No, it's all passes. Primal Seal, Bepis, you already have that.
I can grab it if you.
Okay.
I have
Thank
some
you.
inventory. Yeah, I got it. Oh, you got it? Okay. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
So we're just figuring out loot.
My bad.
I couldn't pick up that ring.
Watch out, there could be a berserker up here.
Down here, we're near the spider.
So as you're coming out of this room, you just want to be wary of any patrols that we didn't get. And just watch out. Just stick with the raid if you can. And any pats that we didn't get, you know, you'll be with the group anyway.
Whoever unleashed that sneeze.
Dude, that scared me.
It literally, I jump scared and I had to escape with my keyboard a few seconds later.
Alright, so we're moving on.
Thank you for panicking.
The berserker here, we'll kill it.
What about the gaze?
No,
Just threatening them.
I would never. I am. Okay. No, not doing that. I'm falling for that tonight.
Messed up.
Huh. Not a fucking chance.
No way. Not my chat.
No.
Not my
No.
problem.
Okay, here we single target
What did I
skull.
say? Traps down, boys.
Yeah, traps.
So for this trash,
Frost.
Single target skull, we shoot
there's going to be a skull and an X
we AoE.
typically for the large spiders, and then a sheep target for the Hakkari Shadowcaster.
Oh my god.
What's going to happen is you want to single target the big
Kill X.
spider, the marked ones, and then once that thing dies, it splits into a bunch of different like little skitterers, at which point you can AoE them down. If you do get aggro, sorry, excuse me. If you do get aggro, you just want to run them back to the tanks. Don't freak out, don't run away. It makes it harder for everyone to get those skitterers down. If one dies near you, you'll get like this drunk debuff like I have. It's kind of annoying. There are add-ons to get rid of it, but you know, it's whatever.
Attack on the left has only one red spider. Has
Okay,
two
so we're marking up. So we have one large spider and 2 sheep targets. So if you're a mage that has a marker for sheeping, this is the time where you'll sheep it.
Traps down.
Otherwise, all other DPS will be single targeting
Okay,
the
we can-
large spider, and then we clean it up with AoE afterward. So we'll go in, single target the skull. Skull dies, it splits, right? And then we can clean it up with AoE away from the sheep markers. But I think we got one in there, and it's dotted up already, so it doesn't. I mean, the reason why we have these sheep and we kill them last is because they do that AoE Shadow Bolt volley, and it's just a lot of damage to go through if they're, you know, if you're not controlling the ad.
Get left pack, no sheep.
So we're moving on here. Sorry that, you know, I have this like this debuff. It's off in 10 seconds, and I'll be able to see again to show you what I'm talking about. Alright, so with this pack, like I said, there is marked large spiders, Skull and X. You want to single target those down first, and then we'll clean up the pack with AoE. So here comes X. I'm going to try and stay away from them because I don't want to get that debuff again. If you're melee, you can't really stay away from them, so
Still
it's
watch yourself, like,
unfortunately it's just tough.
If there are a few of them on range, watch out for those.
You can clean these up with AoE in any way you can. If you want to use a Goblin Sapper, you know, that's up to you. Just gets them down faster. Things dying fast usually means it's safer, because it's just the way it is.
Summit, you just get your moon. Frosties you can drink.
Alright, with this pack we have a sheep target in the back there. So we're going to kill, single target the skull, single target the X, and then clean it up with AoE. But we're going to keep moon in the back there because it's a Shadowcaster. So we get some healing out here.
Watch yourself. Watch your threat. Good luck, thank you.
Okay, and then all we have left now is that last sheep target. So during this is the last trash pack, and we want to make sure that we wait for this debuff to come off, this intoxicating venom, because it periodically will stun the tank potentially if they have this debuff. So sometimes what we do is we have a tank stay out of that last trash pack, so we ensure that they don't get the debuff. But you just want to make sure you have all your tanks off of that debuff. For this boss, it is essentially a tank and spank, but with a focus on adds when they spawn. So when a spider ad spawns, you just want to switch to it and kill it, and then you're back on the boss.
There you go. There's that new upgraded power.
Okay, it'll be Drakon boss as this ransack.
So we're just getting our assignments out here.
Ads first, you're good to full Drak.
You'll see what I mean about ads spawning when they show up. So we're going to go in, see a bunch of ads just spawned. We want to focus those down first. And once they're all down, then we'll go move to the boss, and now we're on the boss here. So we're just DPSing the boss. There's nothing special ranged has to do, or casters. It's just as long as you're focusing the ads that spawn. And then we just want to cleanse the poisons that come out. We got all the poisons, and then we're just moving on. You can see the boss's health is going down at a decent rate here. Kill any ads that spawn, and then the boss is dead.
What is release? Hakkar controls me no longer.
Okay, we can mount.
Okay, so depending on what order is cleared in this in the dungeon run, you just want to watch out for berserkers when you're going through these hallways.
But that message makes it seem like they're like leaving guild or something.
Yeah.
And you just want to stay with the group. So like if you pull something, it's not a huge deal. Just call it out. So we'll get these snakes, and we see a berserker on its way. It'll be picked up. We just got a 2-pack of snakes. It's not a huge deal. So we're gonna pull this berserker. Remember, you want to stay a decent ways away from it if you're a healer, just in case a fear comes out. And then you see how they just got knocked back there. You just want to make sure you're not getting knocked back into another pack. Always position yourself to where if you do get knocked back, it's, you know, back towards the healers or something like that. Never down a cliff or into another pack.
Zero issues. Maybe I don't know. Maybe if someone doesn't want one,
like 3 gold now. I'm not even happy about
Yeah.
it.
I was doing the Zul'Gurub means.
I don't think I've ever heard him say that. I'm sorry. I actually didn't know that was the thing he said.
I'm sorry. I do have my Discord like turned down, so you're not supposed to hear it.
I can't.
Because it's simply just like
Ian
my
said
commentary
that
kind
was
of thing.
good.
So try not to blow out your speakers if you're trying to turn your volume up to hear that.
You're joking, but the coin went back up in price. They're now gold and a half each instead of 20 silver.
Does Iron Warlock have
Throughout the
anything to do
dungeon,
with that, or-
this is the most famous spot for it, but you'll see these jinxed hoodoo piles.
Mm-hmm.
You simply just don't click on them. So if you're trying to come up and loot these tigers, just don't click on the hoodoo pile. There's a potential for someone to get mind controlled out of that hoodoo pile. And then within that mind control,
We'll get this
that person gets, you know, a damage bonus and could potentially just one-shot another raider. So just don't click on the hoodoo pile.
Resurrect time? Ooh, big crit. Gold. Haunting for Wing Buffet?
Log great. Love it.
Asses. Logging for rage. Oh.
Logging for squawk?
So for this room here, there are a number of random just
Gonna do this more.
Zillion Zillion cubs. You gotta. We should kill it because they do run randomly to a pack and will pull it. So you simply just want to kill it if you're ranged. You know, shadow bolt it. You know, do whatever. Frostbolt, auto shot, aim shot. Just kill the Zillion cubs. That was a potentially dangerous situation because our melee couldn't run up to it, or else they'd pull that pack. So I'm not too sure what. Maybe the cast time on a frostbolt or something was in the midst of being cast. We'll give them the benefit of that doubt.
Turns around.
They got scared.
I'm on
pull next.
my scheduled union break.
So for these packs, you'll have a bunch of Zillion tigers with axe throwers. So from previously in the dungeon, you just want to make sure if you are a mage that's assigned to a marker that you're just spamming sheep on that target. And then as DPS, clean up the tigers, clean up the axe throwers, just get the pack down. Here we go again. So axe thrower yet again, and Zillion tigers. So we have our sheeps in the back there for axe throwers. We're killing the Zillion tigers, and then we're going to go to these axe throwers.
That means you're not just constantly sheeping a hard sheep target. Even if it makes no sense to continue to sheep it. Okay, for boss.
All right, so for Tiger Boss, the first phase starts out with these three mobs here. We have High Priest, Lorcan, and Zoth. For Zoth, currently marked X, you do want a tank on it that has that special damage to self trinket. I don't know what it's called. I think Asdis might have it. Let's inspect him. Nope, he doesn't have it. So what that boss does is he gouges that tank, whoever's tanking him, and will drop threat. So you want to have a way to get out of the gouge, either via that damage trinket, or have another tank pick them up. That's the only special thing about these guys. You do want to have assigned kicks to Lorcan and Zoth as well. For kicking casts. So the thing about this is you do want to have the bosses die at the same time. There's like a 15-second window to when the first one dies, and then the last one needs to also be dead. You can see here we're pretty even, really good on the kill time there. As a range, you want to position yourself against this wall because the Tiger boss will do an AoE knockback. So when he spawns, he could do an AoE knockback. Sorry, my camera's a bit, just because I'm positioned up against this wall. you'll see that our tank will take it to the opposite wall. That's just for the knockback, so if it does knock back, you can position yourself to where if the knockback does happen, that you're not knocked back out of the room, or away from the boss, or away from the tank that you're supposed to be healing. The boss is fairly simple,
yeah, okay, I can't.
simply because we had a really good spread on damage. They died really quickly and together, which is really good.
Yeah, stay left, stay left, stay left.
Wait up, don't pull until everyone's passed.
So we're avoiding the trash on the right here. There's just a bunch of trash mobs here. You can see we're just going to avoid it all by sticking to the left here. You do not want to fall off into the water because there are piranhas in the water that will make quick work of your HP bar. If you're a hunter, you do want to throw a flare down, just because there are stealth panthers.
Sentinel, you get triangle here. Triangle's not a sheep, sorry.
Sorry, I tabbed out my leg there. So what's happening here is that we are pulling the pack out and to the left for these shadow hunters, just to get them grouped up.
Kill Panthers first, and then Blood Drinker. They're not marked. As this, you just grab the first one here, and then Ramsey can get the one.
So I'm just lagging a little bit here. While we're down in here, the mobs we have seen before, so we have a Blood Drinker, 2 Blood Drinkers, and a bunch of Zillion Panthers. So we just AoE down the Panthers with the first Blood Drinker, while we have the second Blood Drinker pulled out of the group, and we just kill it afterward. Here, before this pack is pulled, you as a healer want to make sure you're just full mana. So I just buffed up. I just want to get full mana.
Okay, you can pull.
Alright, so what's going to happen here is it's the exact same thing. So we have a 2 Shadow Hunters here, no Blood Drinkers. We just want to group them all up. As a healer here, I'm going to position myself at the far end, because after this trash pack is going to be the boss. So I just want to be like the first one down there kind of thing, so I can get a quick drink while our warriors have full rage. So we're going to move down. For this boss coming up is very simple. As a ranged or healer, you just want to position yourself against the fence here, over here, and you just face your back towards it. That's about it. This is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna see. As if you're melee, you do want to be watching threat on this boss. You don't want to be second or first, because this boss does a gouge sometimes on the main tank, and we want our off tank to pick it up at that point. So my camera is very bad right here, just because of how I'm positioned. That's normal. The Panther boss could do a knockback, that's why we're positioned this way, so we don't want to get knocked back away from the group. And so we're just DPSing the boss. And we're, the Panthers do stack up.
There were soft reses on the bag.
Yeah.
It was at least Hideo.
So we just got soft reses on the bag here.
Hideo is on the bag. Anybody else in the bag? No, I don't think so. I think everybody passes except for Hideo.
Hideo, grats on bag.
Grats on bag.
Hideo, let's fucking go.
Welcome to Club. Welcome to Club.
Huge. Runs over. Best loot's dropped. Nothing can beat this. Big. That was a close retreat.
Perfect. Sorry, there's just some loot there I wanted to make sure everyone got. But that's the Panther boss. It's not too tough, but you You just have to be aware of your threat there. So if the main tank does get gouged, that the off tank is ready to pick it up because they're second on threat, and then you as a DPS are,
By the way, I'm in the wrong spot, but I am gonna be
you know, third and just watching your threat. So you do not want to get you know, hit by that boss when they're in Panther form.
Stay right here.
So here there's a bunch of mobs on the left that we're just going to hug the right.
It's all fun and games until
You just want to hug the right here, avoid the mobs,
On the right.
and we'll go into some patrols here. So we have some Panthers.
We get this pack coming here next.
And so the raid lead here is just marking up some patrols that we're gonna pull. So we have a Blood Drinker and a Shadow Hunter. So we want to kill the Shadow Hunter first, and then the Blood Drinker. Pull him, get him next. So there's just a bunch of patrols around here that you just want to have your head on a swivel for. Just a bunch of like these little 2-packs. So we did pull a hut. So I'm going to focus up here. We do have a witch doctor. We're trying to get a sheep on the moon up there.
Yep. Run away from the square. Run away from the square.
So the witch doctor died. You know, this is kind of, it's a scuff pull, but because we know that witch doctors have that ghost, when they die, it's just important to stay calm and just do the mechanics. So you just run away from the ghost when he when he's about to die or when he dies. It's a good reaction by our mage to get a sheep up on this mob here, and it looks like we're just going to kill this mob as well for a hoodoo pile. Looks like. The hoodoo piles do get clicked, just not currently. We do that after the raid.
Nope, that was a sapper. That was a good sapper.
Damn it.
Well worth.
We have
Okay, we're
details.
going to get the berserker.
right here.
There's a lot of scuff pulls in those runs, so I mean, like, I guess they're good examples of, you know, things that you should be looking for and things that you might need to react to. It's just really important to stay calm and understand what the mobs do in relation to what the pull might have been. You know, so in that case, you know, there's a witch doctor that died first when it you know, it should have died last, but you know, that was just the nature of, you know, the mobs getting picked up. But because we know we have to get away from the witch doctor when it dies, we just simply move away with everything else.
So
For the Shire.
yeah.
So,
For the shot.
we have time for R and
Yes.
I think so. Which one does Hakkar have? 22 minutes? Good. We'll kill Jin'do first.
Hey, I'm here for extra rep. I like it.
Just watch in the tent above. There are dudes, so don't cut too close to that.
Fucking dudes.
But what if I want to come to the tent with dudes?
No.
You want
Burning
what?
Man is not for a bit.
That wasn't very rich.
I've never been to Burning Man. I've traveled that far to see it.
Alright, so now we're moving on to Jin'do's room and his trash.
I couldn't, man.
So
Kill slaves.
important thing about this trash is that we have it all grouped up, and that the mages and druids are focusing on decursing during this trash.
Oh Jesus! Fuck.
You can see there that the tanks do take a lot of damage here. It's just important to have them all grouped up. They do put a curse on the tanks that increase their damage taken. So you can see that it, physical damage taken increased by 500. This is why we want to prioritize decursing, because if you have that curse on your tank, he's taking 500 extra damage from every single mob that that's on him or that's being tanked. So
isn't as excited as I am.
So if you're a mage or a druid, you definitely want to be focusing decursing during this room. Other than that, we are AoEing every single mob down. But you have to make sure that they're grouped up. So the main part is to get them grouped up first and to get them down.
You ever confuse those?
Someone's getting paid to just bang me, honestly.
Okay, I'm an
Okay,
LOS.
so
we're gonna do
we
an
got
LOS
marks
build
out.
or
Like my
whatever
birthday.
it's called.
LOS to the
We got the slaves out, and so
Enemy threat, guys.
you can
We're
see
fighting
our
the LOS,
druid
enemy
tank
threat.
is getting them all grouped up. Very nice. It's
Or-
important not to do, threat like that until
I don't
they're
even know what that was.
grouped up.
Dynamite.
So just wait till they're grouped up, and then you can throw, your dynamites, your sappers.
Coach Gaming wasn't trying to play with some
It's
of
just
the
we just want them to die, efficiently. I guess
I don't know
is
if
what we're
using a
going
lip
for
when you
here.
have threat is.
No, it's
Usually
tossing the
the
dynamite.
strategy.
It's tossing the
Throwing the
dynamite
dynamite.
free LOS is the part I was commenting on. Pico, it was not the whip.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Okay, the
It was
LOS.
the other thing.
So we're gonna do another
So
LOS here.
is when
The
mobs
tank's gonna move
fully
over
go-
to
fully
here.
go to where the tank
LOS
is,
the
so you get
mobs.
all the way. Okay. Or never
I don't
mind.
know
You
why.
what,
I'm
man?
about it. I'm about it.
Possible.
Hold on, where are those
Pick a
going?
Mr.
I don't know why we're early attacking these mobs.
Yeah.
Should not be
Get
doing
ready
that.
to decurse right
Well, he dodges it somehow. How does he do it? Racer?
Can't keep getting away with this.
Ratio? L plus?
Okay, cauldron pack coming.
We have mistress other side.
Yeah, we'll get that. We'll use fears on those.
Shit.
The cauldron packs where there's not like the slaves, they don't need to be LOS'd or anything like that. It's just the packs with the slaves that we're worried about.
Yeah, they fucking
So these withered mistresses, they're not too dangerous, so we just group them up, AoE them down,
Blow your fears.
and we move on.
Fears.
Moving on to Jin'do. Jin'do the Hexxer.
Okay,
You do not want to decurse on this fight, although you do for his trash. For this fight, you do not want to decurse. Periodically, he will be spawning totems that mind control random players. So if you are a DPS, you want to be focusing those totems and killing them as fast as possible so that the mind control player either isn't killed or isn't killing the raid themselves. It is possible that Jin'do will target a random player and teleport them to this pool. If you are teleported to that pool, you just want to call out your name and say, because we can AoE the skeletons that might be there, and then you just rejoin the fight. So you can see we started the fight here. What we're looking for if you're a DPS is the mind control totem. There it is. And we just want to kill it, and then we're back on the boss. Another totem, so we're going to kill it, and then we're back on the boss. Ranged is, they're back there doing DPS. But now we're just focusing on the boss. There's a lot of ads out, but they do very, very little damage. We just burn the boss here, and the boss dies. But
Okay, mount up. Hakkar is running in. This could be the end.
Alright, so nothing too special about that boss as long as you're focusing the totems, and if you do happen to get teleported to the blood pool, that you're calling your name out, so the range can help you with killing the skeletons and getting out of that blood pool and rejoining the fight.
Wait, actually, make sure she's not. Can someone make sure she's not in the pit?
It doesn't respawn after it's dead.
Okay.
Yeah, she is not in the pit. Also, McStabby is sticking with her, so she's safe.
Killing Crocs for rep. Killing Crocs for rep.
Yeah, let's pull Crocs while we wait
Get
for the
Roro
tail.
in here.
Actually, McStabby typed in party chat BRB as we pulled the boss, so I don't think he was in the fight.
I wasn't. I totally thought I put it in right, and I came back and he was in too. So my bad.
You're good.
Renzo, when you said waking up in the back of the troll pit, I was thinking you wake up in the back of a wagon.
So here, you just want to make sure that you are not, just
Skyrim.
be wary of the packs that are here. We won't always kill this pet right here on the right. So what you can do is you line yourself up with this cube, and then you just go straight ahead, and you will not aggro either mob on each side.
Okay.
Impossible challenge.
Yeah, that's the best card.
Okay, we can pull that berserker.
That goes to G-Bank.
Yeah, let me just pull up the spreadsheet of requesting.
We can grab this on the right.
Yes.
5
we
minutes
can.
on our
Pretty
bus.
Okay. We'll rebuff
Get it.
before Hakkar.
Bring down.
Okay, so this is Hakkar Trash. The Soul Flare is a very dangerous mob. They do cast a fear, so you do want to. This might be one of your targets that die first, or it'll be marked for a crowd control CC, either hibernate or sheep. The mobs in here, these packs coming up, are dangerous just simply because that they're on this platform. There's very limited space. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark up a mob for kill order, CC order, and it's just very important as a DPS that you are focusing single target on the kill targets that are called. So we have a priest, which is usually going to be the first one that's going to die first, and then we have some blood drinkers and 2 soul flares. So we're getting our marks out now for hibernates and sheeps and kill targets. So what's going to happen is we want CCs to be up on that top platform while the kill targets are brought down to where we're standing now. It just needs to be very controlled here, just so the pack doesn't get out of control. So here comes the pull. We get our CCs out. You can see that they're hibernated in sheep there. We're gonna get the priests down first.
Get some sunders.
You can see the priests are healing themselves. Alright, so now since the 2 priests are down, the pack is a lot more manageable. We're just pulling one target one by one and then killing it as the CCs are broken by the tanks. So once one dies, we'll pull the next.
Oh wow.
And then as that one dies, we'll pull the next one.
And everybody come down off of that. We have another
pack. That's actually one of the cleaner ones I've seen from this build. Very good.
This is a relatively small pack here. 1 soul flare. We should grab this, just because it's in a good spot to grab. Soul flare in a pack like this will always be first. And then the Son of Hakkars are still dangerous by themselves, but if you have a tank that's picking them up, they're usually not that bad. We're just going to do some scouting, so we see a large pack on its way. The Son of Hakkars, they will automatically respawn. They're kind of annoying because they automatically respawn and they dump a poison where they're killed, which is important later, but I'll get into that once I explain the next boss. So we're going to mark up this pack. We want priests first, and then all others. We have a witch doctor in here, a shadow hunter, looks like 2 priests,
ready to CC?
a shadow hunter, and a witch doctor. So it's not a bad pack. We just get our CCs out. Mages sheep, druids hibernate, if that's the call it is. So diamond's not getting hibernated. I'm going to go in and stun it.
Oh, we have a blood drinker.
Yeah, see, the diamond's being constantly broken, so I'm just going to focus here because it's a little bit messy. We want the priests dead first. Alright, so we cleaned up the priests. So you can just see how important it is for the CC to be on point and how you just want to control the pull as best as you can, because it just cleans it up really nicely as opposed to having mobs running everywhere and fears going out and all that annoying stuff.
We have another sun coming, run away. Don't get knocked down.
So the witch doctor just died, so we're going to run away from the ghost. Run away from the poison. We can cleanse some poisons here. I'm playing decently bad because I'm just trying to get through the explanation as well. But that was a good recovery on you know,
is
a not so
getting the 1
controlled
hour
pull.
Consumes like mongoose giants and fortitudes.
So for Hakkar, this is a very threat-dependent fight. If you are not tanking Hakkar, you want to make sure you are third on threat or below, because the current tank who is tanking him will get mind controlled, and then obviously Hakkar will go to the next person next on the threat table, which will be the off tank. During the mind control of the tank, we will have assignments for a mage either to sheep that tank for the duration of the mind control, or if you have a druid tank like we do, a hibernate from our, you know, a resto druid if you do have one, to hibernate the druid for the duration of the mind control. The special thing about this boss is the Sons of Hakkar that we were killing during the fight. What's going to happen there is we will intentionally kill Son of Hakkar at the appointed time, I'll call it, because Hakkar does a siphon life ability where he channels a siphon life from every member in the raid for very high damage. But if you have the poison from the Son of Hakkar on you during the siphon life, it will actually damage the boss. So it's very important that if the call is made to kill the Son of Hakkar, you want to make sure you're getting your poison, and, you know, resuming DPS after that. Other than that, you want to be spread out. If you are a ranged healer, you just want to spread out, and then melee can be spread out around his hitbox, because there is a debuff of either corrupted blood or tainted blood, I forget what it's called, that will do AoE damage to those around you if you have the debuff.
Does anybody have questions?
We'll get into more mechanics. I mean, that's all the mechanics in a nutshell. I know it's a lot to take in as an explanation, but as the fight is going on, I'll explain what's happening as it's happening. So for a little bit of pre-pull is we have the Son of Hakkar sheeped in the back here. If the call is made to kill the Sun, we will do it at that time. So we're going to pull here. You want to watch your threat, of course, at the beginning of the fight. Just watch your threat, let the tanks establish, and then you can go for it. So as a ranged, you kind of want to be spread out a little bit tight over here, but it, you know, once corrupted blood goes out, they will, you know, spread out themselves. So I have corrupted blood. I'm just going to stay here. I'm not ticking my corrupted blood on anyone. And you can see the mind control went out on our druid tank, and he was immediately hibernated, and now our off tank is tanking right now. So the mind control is off of our druid, and he's back in there maintaining his threat, and we just want to make sure. So now Asdis is mind controlled, our other tank. I'm going to go in for a Hodge here because I don't see a sheep, and there it is. So he's not mind controlled.
10 seconds,
so our DPS is kind of low here, so the call to kill the Sun is probably going to happen pretty soon, because we have Blood Siphon coming in 20 seconds. So our raid leader just called for the Sun to be killed. You want to wait for it to come into the raid here, and then you run into the puddle, grab your poison, and you want to make sure heals are still on the tank, because he's still taking damage while you are, you know, while you're trying to get your debuff here. So once the siphon happens, if you have the poison, you will take no damage, but it will actually damage Hakkar. And then we're back to healing the tanks, and then healing the raid up here too. And then that is the boss there.
Oh, the wand?
The wand? Pretty good item. Okay, we're gonna loot here.
Alright guys, and that concludes ZG. Of course, in your runs, if you do happen to have questions, please ask them during, you know, any portion. If you're confused on something, like I said, it's just always really good to speak up. Like I'd rather have a question being asked and answered rather than assuming and then something go sideways
be the same without
and
those,
it, you know, not
canvassing them.
pan out,
Yeah, I really like that.
you know, in a, you know. All right, guys, take care.
Drag, are you going for piles?
Yes.
Can I follow you around just in case a scythe drops?
As long as you stay on your mount.
Yep, that would. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do.
Right. I'll just wait till you get to where